everybody. Welcome back into Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here on Wednesday, July 12th. Latest parish council meeting for Terrebonne Parish. Here to give us a little bit of preview of what's going to happen is, of course, the chairman, District 5, Jessica Domingue. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me again.
How you doing, man? The summer's treating you guys all right? Y'all don't take a break. Y'all don't go on vacation or anything, huh?
It's good. No, we did. We took some time off the last couple weeks, and we did a little traveling. But now it's back to work, and
Houma
but
seems
even
dead. I don't see people around. Everybody left, I think.
yeah, well, even your council people. I mean, when we're on vacation, we never stop working.
Right,
So,
that's true.
yeah,
You got an electronic
yeah,
leash on you.
absolutely, absolutely. But it was nice to get away with the kids for a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. I just know that I live kind of by a school, and it's like, where is everybody? But let's talk about what's going on. So the next meeting, y'all just had a big committee meeting, and of course, like I say, Wednesday, July 12th will be the next parish council meeting. Some of the topics that come up in committee that will come up in this meeting. Let's start with. We've seen this in bigger urban areas, but kind of a homeless park where people are starting to live in tents on the side, and people have noticed it off of West Park Avenue on the west side. And you guys have studied this a lot, right?
Yeah, we did. We've been talking about our housing crisis. It seems like since before the hurricane, and the hurricane really just put a bullseye on us, and just exacerbated that problem so much more. Now we know that the state and the federal government are working, but it's a very, very tedious process. But we have had some issues in and around not just District 5, but the entire parish, where we do have some incidences of homelessness. And so, I just want the general public to know, and they're seeing it, that we are working with administration to come up with some solutions to be able to help people and to help them get out of this situation and into a better situation. But it is very, very complicated. And last night we had a very, very interesting conversation. Everybody was very in tune, and I appreciated the conversation because we don't hear about it. Everybody's campaigning on this and that and saying, they want to fix this, but nobody's actually talking about what do they want to do to help with the people. And that's really what I want to hear is what are we going to do to help these people? And so the conversation for me seemed to be productive. I'd like to see where it goes from there, and see what happens next.
We all obviously see what happens in New Orleans and San Francisco, and you end up with these tent cities, and it ends up being a lot of people living there permanently, and there's drug abuse, and with fentanyl now, there's a lot of things to worry about when that goes on. We're just coming over a huge hurricane where I'm sure we lost a big part of our stock as far as housing stock in the area that's probably hadn't been rebuilt yet. So I don't know whose district it is. Do you go talk to these people and go, how has this happened? I mean, is that part of what you have to do?
We actually have a network of people who do that. We have a social worker on staff. We also have our nuisance abatement staff who reaches out to people, helps give them resources or helps guide them in the right direction. So we do those things. Sometimes situations are a bit out of our scope of what we're able to.
Right. Yeah, we've never dealt with this
Right,
on
right.
a large scale.
Yeah, and so, just to kind of get down to the social part of it, we've got problems with mental health, we've got problems with drug abuse. We all see it. We hear about it. I'm sure the police chief could tell you how many overdoses we have, which I know are a lot.
Yeah.
And it's only been exacerbated by the hurricane and the COVID pandemic. And so my hope is really, that the state and the federal government start looking at these things and start sending money our way.
Sure.
I know we just had session, and it probably wasn't a very top priority this past
No.
session, but I really hope that next session we have some people in Baton Rouge who are going to start saying, you know what, we have to really start finding funding for these things because it's just going to get worse.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I say, you can see these things built from one or two people that are out there. Then there's tents and all, and just for logistic parts. This is on West Park, kind of by the high rise off of those areas?
Well, I don't want to necessarily say
Oh, okay,
exactly
yeah.
where.
I got
You
you.
know,
I got you.
the people who know where these places
I
are,
got you.
and it's not just in one location.
Sure.
It's in many locations. I don't want to necessarily call people out about where they are because this is human beings.
Sure.
But we do notice it, we do see it, and we are addressing it in every way we
Right.
possibly can.
No, yeah, look,
Yeah.
we know we had a lot of people that did not have houses to go home to after the storm. We still have the Rebecca plantation area out there where a lot of those campers are out there. So I know during hurricane season, that's a big worry for a lot of folks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, good. Like I said, I'm sure you're going to get a few phone calls about that. Let's talk about some of the other things that are going on. So not far from that, and this is way bad. And actually, we'll just preview it and then talk about it next time. Is the Bayou cleanup, the debris cleanup, and I don't mean to make that transition, but so you're going to do. FEMA is giving you some money to debris the Bayou, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, we all want the bayou to be cleaned up, and we started the bayou dredging project prior to the hurricane. The hurricane, of course, put a halt on everything and said, you know, hey, we can't do that just yet. And so we've started the first steps. And I know we're kind of running low on time, so I'd like to discuss a little bit
Sure.
more in depth on what that process is, because when people say we're complete and they look and they see, well, we're not really finished. I'd like to explain that a little bit
All
more.
right. FEMA's giving you a grant for water, not for just removal of everything. Right?
So it's a bit more wonky than that. So FEMA, you know, issued us a contract to go ahead and remove debris from Bayou Terrebonne that was obstructing water flow. All South Engineers actually won that bid, and they went out and they completed that project, and so we had to actually issue a certificate of substantial completion last night on that. And our question was, well, it's not complete because if you drive down Hollywood Road and you look in the
still-
bayou, I mean, it's full of debris or it's full of trees. But that impeding water flow is what's so important, because there's a lot of trees that are hanging it over the bayou, or maybe um, uh, you know, kind of
Water
fell,
can
or
still go, right.
they're not necessarily impeding water flow. So what's going to happen next is we're going to come back with another project, and then we're going to dredge the bayou, and
To
we're
deepen
also
it?
yes, and we're also going to sweep the sides. So that's going to be that next project. Now I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but it should be happening soon. But that's the next step of that project. So it's basically a two-phase. So if people see, well, substantial completion of Bayou Terrebonne, they look at it and they see, well, it's not really cleaned. That's why, is because they had to come and just get the immediate things that were impeding that water flow.
I see. And it would go from the parish line all the way to
Yes.
Chauvin?
Yes, the entire Bayou Terrebonne, yes.
Yeah, that'd be a big project.
That's a
So-
big project, absolutely, absolutely,
So
yes.
yeah, that's going to take a lot of time,
That's
and
gonna
yeah,
take
that's
a lot
something
of time.
they've always talked about water flow, getting more water down that bayou, and yeah, obviously making sure there's water in the bayou. I mean, we had weirs set up to make sure it trapped some water in the northern end. So yeah, that's always going to be real important. Another important thing is our power plant.
Yes.
We lost the power plant during Ida, and I should say. Before Ida and after Ida should have been BI and AI. No, but
Yeah.
anyway, so we used to have a power plant. We don't have anymore, but you guys are taking bids to rebuild it on a temporary and a permanent basis, right?
So where now, well, it's temporary generators. So what happened after Ida? Of course, we had to have a power plant, and so we bid out to this company called Agreco to bring in some temporary generators. And there was a bit of controversy, and I know people have probably heard the conversations about the controversy, and I'm not going to get into that, but we will tomorrow night have on our agenda that we have to we're actually issuing another contract to another company called Del Sol. So earlier I said that they were temporary generators. Now these are they're called temporary long-term generators. So we were going to switch them out anyway until we can build a new power plant. Which
And
of
it's
course we have
3
to.
years?
Yeah, I can't.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a multi-million-dollar project, and so it will happen. However, we have to have these generators there, and so when the RFP went out to bids, the original company, Agreco, who had that temporary project, they were not the lowest bidder, so they did not win the bid. This other company called Del Sol did end up winning that bid. So they are going to have to remove those generators and replace them with new generators. But as I said earlier, this was going to happen anyway. Because we had to do this process. So there's really not any controversy with this. It's just, it was a new, and actually we're saving the taxpayers money because they came in under.
So Del Sol is going to also have temporary before the permanent one's done?
No, they're called temporary long-term generator
I got
pass.
you.
So yeah, so it's going to be more of a long-term solution because we're looking at a few years
Until we
before we can
actually build it.
Absolutely.
So they're not building a new power plant.
No.
Okay,
they're
I
not
thought that's what it was.
No, that's going to be a whole nother process. And I'm sure the general public will hear lots about that other process.
Yeah.
It's like everything else, though. I know we've talked about this show a lot, is that the rebuilding of our community is a process. I mean, we got completely wiped out, and sometimes we have to take a step back and acknowledge, what we went through, because I know
Right.
2 years out, you want everything to be back to normal, everything back, but we don't have a magic wand, and I tell people that all the time. If I did, I'd make it better, but we just don't, and it does take time, to get this debris removed, to get our ditches dug, to get everything cleared, to even order a stop sign, to order a street light. I mean, you've heard
Sure.
that process.
Oh, yeah.
Everything just is a process, because we have to go through through FEMA and those bid laws for everything. So this is part of that, and I think it's very, very important. And I support it. I'm absolutely supporting this because I can see why we need this.
Yeah, there's two different modes. Obviously, you're just trying to get back to life a little bit right after a storm, so it's a little more expensive. And then you get back to permanent life, which now you got to take bids and do all that.
Right, and let's be real. I mean, we're looking at 10 years. I mean,
Yeah.
this was substantial, something I've never seen before in my entire life. So I just think we need to all give ourselves a little grace.
All right, so Wednesday, July 12th, what time? And people
6
are
p.m.
invited, right?
Yeah. Oh, and come out. We're gonna have Gavin Dugas as well.
Oh, nice.
We're presenting him
He
the
got
key of the
drafted
city.
yesterday.
Yeah.
So congratulations to him.
Yeah. So that's gonna be great. Yeah.
National champ and now future, I think he's with the Devil Rays. I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, thanks so much, Jessica. We'll be
Thanks.
right back with more Bayou Time after this.